Good evening. If several people look at a diamond, a rare, beautiful diamond, you'll have possibly different focuses on the same object that they're looking at. An investor is going to look at the diamond and he's thinking, how much is it worth? He just sees money. But a real artisan jeweler, he's going to look at the diamond first of all. Is it perfect? What shade it is? A real jeweler is going to want to know how he can mount it. Is it going to be part of a necklace? Is it going to be part of a crown? Is it going to be part of a ring? So he's looking at the beauty. You can look at the money, you can look at the beauty. In the oil industry, diamonds are used to dig oil. Not diamonds that are used for jewelry, but there's rough industrial diamonds to drill because it's hard. So what's a diamond for? It's for something that's hard. Is it for beauty? Is it money? You can look at the same thing and see many aspects, and they're all true. What is Chasidus? What is Chasidus? To some people, Chasidus is fire. Chasidus is to have enthusiasm in Avodas Hashem. The Baal Shem Tov talks about the fire of Chasidus. To other people, it's a discipline. It's how to live life. It's a form of Musar. How to discipline oneself and how to live. It's a lifestyle. To some people, Chasidus is to understand the Kabbalah. Many people study Chabad Chasidus to understand the Kabbalah. What's Chasidus? And really, this was raised in the first chapter of Inyana Shel Teres Chasidus. He brought 4 qualities of Chasidus, the way it's understood, and the way it was seen in our literature. But it all comes from one essence, and that essence is the Yechida. Yechida is the essence of the neshama. The neshama is the essence, but then the essence of the essence is the Yechida level of the neshama. There's the Yechida in Torah, there's the Yechida in creation, there's the Yechida in our soul. And now we're going to understand and focus on Chasidus. That multifaceted uniqueness of Chasidus comes from the essence of the Yechida of Torah. We're starting now the 6th chapter. And he connected earlier Chasidus to the coming of Mashiach. And just like Mashiach has one essential point, Mashiach is about the Yechida, and that's why all of the great accomplishments that are going to happen in nature and in man through the coming of Mashiach is because there's going to be revealed in the world the essence of creation, which is the essence of Hashem that's in the world, the Ein Sof that's in the world. And when that's going to be revealed, it's going to change the world in many ways. Similarly, since the coming of Mashiach is connected to the study of Torah Chasidus, like the Baal Shem Tov was told by Mashiach, that Mashiach told him that Mashiach is going to come when the words of Chasidus, the teachings of Chasidus will be spreading all over the world. So therefore, if we understand how there's one essence, one core, that is later reflected in all of the aspects of Mashiach's times, similarly, it is so in Chasidus. And now he's going to apply it to Chasidus, and we're going to focus and understand really the depth of this idea. Meschora shel hafotza Chasidus bias HaMashiach neida mehusa kol hachadusha mehusa. From understanding Mashiach, we're going to understand the essence of Chasidus and all the aspects that Chasidus is going to affect, all the aspects of life, all the aspects of a person. This comes from the central core. And how does it work and how does it connect to Yechida? That's what we're going to be speaking about. Kol achidusham Chasidus chitcha b'Torah, kolel havos chelak hasoid shebo lidei gilui. One of the things that Chasidus, especially and specifically Chabad Chasidus, has that it reveals Kabbalah. It explains Kabbalah. There are many people who study Chabad Chasidus specifically and only because they want to have an intellectual understanding of concepts in Kabbalah. There are many students in schools of Kabbalah today, especially in Israel. Some are satisfied with just getting a knowledge of the spiritual cosmos, what's going on up there, and with that they're satisfied, and they can tell you exactly the 10 levels and the heichalois and the chambers that are in Olam Atzilus, and which names of Hashem and the vowels underneath the names that are in the world of Atzilus, and then they're going down to Bria. What angels are connected with Bria, what Hecholas are in Bria, what names of Hashem are connected to Bria, and which level of the Neshama is connected to Bria. And they're going to go through the whole Seder, Shtalshlos, the whole spiritual order of the cosmos that is connected to that. So all of that is to some people enough. And some people, they look at a Kabbalah Siddur and they scan it. They just look at the names and they feel that there's a certain holiness in seeing the names of Hashem and the variations of the spellings and the conjugations of the names of Hashem, and just looking at it, the scanning it has an impression in your soul. But some people really want to understand the Kabbalah. And understanding the Kabbalah and the depth of Kabbalah, Chabad Chasidus delves into that. And in fact, some of the major Kabbalah thinkers of the last 100 years quote from Emorim of the Alter Rebbe, of the Rebbe Rashab, of all of the Rebbes, to explain concepts of Kabbalah, essential concepts of the Kabbalah, the spheres, the tzimtzum, the Or Ein Sof, the levels of the Or Ein Sof, and the levels of godliness that permeate the world. Terms of Kabbalah, raw text of Kabbalah, get an understanding in the Chasidus. So some people study Chasidus for the Kabbalah. But then Chasidus affects Avodas HaAdam, how it changes man. Hanoged Lifnim Yishuras Adin. What the Gemara says, what is a Chassid? A Chassid does beyond the halacha. The Alter Rebbe said, and our Rebbe said, that what's the purpose of Chasidus? To change our nature. Shinitav Amidos. So all of these different aspects of Chasidus, B'chlalas ha'olam, Hisodas itself, is how it affects the world. How when the Baal Shem Tov came, it brought an awakening in the world, in the Jewish world. Einim chedushim shekol echad ve'echad mischadeshu b'fnei atzmai. All of these effects that Chasidus affects in the world, and in person, and in the mind, and in Torah, are byproducts of one essential point. It's because the Baal Shem Tov and the Rebbes brought down a new energy, an essential energy, and once that came down, it opened up secrets of Kabbalah. It opened up a potential to change oneself. It opened up the capability and empowered us to do things that Chasidus effected that wasn't there before. Now there are footnotes in the original Hebrew work, and I'm going to read from some of these footnotes to understand and appreciate it. In footnote 40, Mem, he explains why, through revealing this level of Yechida, the infinite essence of the Neshama, and the infinite essence of Torah, why specifically through that do the secrets of the Kabbalah become revealed? So he says, מצד השתלשל סדר השתלשל שבתורה ישנה הגבלה זו שחלקי הפשט רמז דרוש שבתורה יהיו בגולי וחלק הסוד יהיו בהלם. If you look at the original order, so to say, the natural order of Torah study, there is the study of the Gemara, for example. There's a way to study Gemara, analyzing it, getting the information. It's an intellectual pursuit. There's a way of pshat, remez, of way drush, to see the numbers, gematriyos, the Torah. So certain words have hidden messages in the text, in the spelling. Gzeir shava, it's also in halacha. A word here is connected to a word there, and later on in the Torah, or even in Tanakh, and the connection between them. So they have their place and they have their role. And each is in a different level. Later on, we're going to speak about Pshat, Remesh, Drusayid, the different levels of Torah study. If you look at the original order of levels of the standard level of Torah study, there are differences. And Kabbalah is in the category of Soid, secrets, esoteric. And it's mystery, undefined, abstract. So that is if you're looking at the structure of Torah study, the way it's been structured. But if you look at the Yechida, if you say, where is the Yechida of Torah? Chasidus is the Yechida of Torah. That means Yechida is brought down an essential, the infinite point of Torah. Now, since you're dealing with the infinite point of Torah, when you're there, since anything that's infinite has no limits and has no boundaries, so then secrets don't have to be secret. You should find a way to reveal it. Don't box yourself into halacha. Connect halacha with remesh, with drush, with sayin. We don't box in every different form of study. We see how the interconnection is between one and the other. So if you learn Gemara, and Gemara can be understood logically, then you would take concepts of Kabbalah and you should be able to understand them logically as well. Because when you're coming to the core essence of everything, the core essence is not bound and limited. And when you have, because the core essence of halacha is the essence of Hashem, and the essence of Hashem's wisdom. And the core essence of remez and drush and soid, all aspects of Torah, the core essence of it is the revelation of Hashem's infinite wisdom. So therefore, Chasidus brings that down. And when you reach out to that, what he calls mitzad etzem mahus haTorah b'chenes yechida, ein chilek ben chilek hasod shebo l'shar chalak. There are no differences. So therefore, since Chasidus brought down this essential study of Torah, therefore everything is now open, and that's why Chasidus has the capability of revealing the secrets of Kabbalah. This is similar to what it says about when Mashiach is going to come, he's going to reveal Torah Chadash, a new understanding of Torah. What does it mean that Mashiach has got a new understanding of Torah? The Torah is the Torah. But the Mashiach is going to come to the real essential essence of the Torah. Chasidus is a taste of the Torah of Mashiach. And therefore, now already, the Rabbeim, starting from the Moshe, has revealed that you can't box in the levels of Torah. You touch the real essence, and therefore it affects the study of Kabbalah. Why those who want to study Chasidus to understand the Kabbalah, they take a line of Zohar, and they want to see how the Rebbe's explained that line of Zohar, new insights in the Zohar. And today people are writing commentaries on the Zohar, who want to understand the Zohar, really understanding intellectually, they look at what Chabad says on these lines of the Zohar, on these concepts of the Zohar and the concepts of Kabbalah. There are those who still are stuck, I must tell you, they're still stuck they're saying, no, Zohar cannot be understood. We don't want to understand this. We just want to scan the Zohar because it's holiness. But the Alter Rebbe says, no. Hashem wants you, with your brain, to understand Zohar Kabbalah. And they took the major concepts of the Kabbalah and presented it in an intellectual way. Similarly, the Rebbe explains a footnote Mem Aleph. The change that happens in each person, how do we come to be so idealistic to serve Hashem beyond the call of duty, Lifnei Mishur Sadin? How are we able to change our nature? How are we able to change? Chassidus is supposed to change our nature. How are we able to change our nature? So you say, well, Chassidus empowers you to change. Chassidus empowers you to be idealistic. So footnote Mem Aleph 41, he goes into explaining that thought. And he says, Mitzat Pchinas Nefesh Ruach Neshama Chaya, since if we're dealing with lower levels of the neshama, so each level of the neshama, like we explained, one deals with action, then deals with emotion, ruach neshama is emotions, neshama, the bchina of neshama deals with the intellect, chaya is with will, yechida, that as essential core of the neshama, the godly quality that we have in our neshama, the essential quality that is a chelik elakah, that is chelik echad boire shenasa nivra, which the Kabbalah, the Eitz Chaim talks about. When that is revealed, it's a different type of serving of Hashem. Some people serve Hashem because it makes them feel good. They feel connected. They have a goal. Like he says over here. Kavanase b'avedasu b'shvil hagiluyim. Ki b'bchinas chaya yeshna izem mevukesh. All the levels of the neshama, the level of action, the level of emotion, the level of intellect, even chaya, he has a goal. He is a somebody, he's a metzias. The natural tendency of person is, I'm something and I'm somebody. So you ask me what I want, and I'm idealistic, so I'm looking for purpose, I'm looking for meaning. So therefore, I have a goal, and therefore, what am I getting out of it? What am I getting out of studying Torah? So it could be Olam Haba, the world to come, but there's a goal and there's a purpose for me. It's not that idealistic. But, he says, when you talk about Yechida, I'm not a somebody anymore. You're talking about my godly spark, my essential godly spark. He says, Ein shum mevukesh b'avedasai. Hanhaga lifnei mishur zadin. Hanhaga the lifnei mishur zadin. If you're looking at, why should I do beyond the call of duty? Why should I do something to sacrifice my benefit for somebody else? Not only my physical benefit, my spiritual benefit for somebody else. The Rebbe said, you should give of your time where you could study more Torah yourself and advance yourself, give from that time to help another Yid. Am I obligated to do that? No. Halachim, I'm not obligated to do that. But lifnei mishur sadin, beyond the call of duty. Be idealistic. What do you mean idealistic? Beyond myself? But there is myself. So if you're talking about the lower levels of the neshama, so I am a neshama, I have feelings, and I have intellect, and I'm a somebody, so I'm looking for my spiritual gain, or maybe even more physical gain. But if you're looking at the Yechida level, it's the godly spark that's in me. So it's not about me. I'm just the expression of the godly spark. So of course I'm going to go beyond the call of duty. That's how Chasidus gets us to go beyond the call of duty, because it reveals that you have in yourself that yechida, the essential godly spark, that when you sense that and tune into that, you lose your feeling of I'm a somebody, and says, what does Hashem want for me? Like there was a chassid, he came to the Alter Rebbe, and he had a whole list of needs, physical needs and also spiritual needs. And he comes and like we go today to Rebbe, we hand a note to the oil, and he gives it to the Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe looks at it and reads it, and he says to him, looks up to him, and he says to him, you write over here what you need, but for what are you needed? You are telling Hashem what you need. But for what does Hashem need you? That's Yechida. Yes, we have needs. Rebbes give brachas. People go to the oil today because they want brachas, they want blessings, they want mazel, etc., etc. So that's true. It says in Gemara, if someone is sick in your house, go to the Torah scholar that's in your city. They give bracha. But also the Torah scholar is supposed to teach you to go beyond yourself, beyond your needs. That is a chida approach. And similarly to the idea that we say that Chasidus can change you, can change your nature. So if you're going to call in that part of your neshama, the first 4 levels, neshama, ruach, emotions, neshama, intellect, chaya, even will. So you're boxed into your nature. But if you tune into your chida, if you turn into your chida level, and Chasidus is bringing down the yechida in us, trying to reveal the yechida in us. The yechida is the godly spark that's in us. It's raw and pure and unlimited. So yes, that can empower you to change your nature and your character. When we say it's a change, the nature of our midas, like he says, if you reveal the yechida, nishtana gam teva midoisav migvura lechesna meches legvura. From being kind to being strong and disciplined, and from being disciplined, strong, tough, to soften up and to be kind, etc. Because these limitations and natural qualifiers or natural tendencies come from lower levels of the neshama. A character that we inherit from parents, we have our own that we develop from our life experiences, and then we're saying something, you know what? You can go deeper than that. So this is something that is unique about Chasidus. And I think, I was reading this to myself, I was saying, this is very powerful stuff. And Yechida is such a level that is way above the experiences. And if you read the Zohar and you read the Kabbalah, only a tzaddik, a very high level tzaddik, reaches to live a Yechida lifestyle. And yet the Rebbe here is saying that that's Chasidus. You learn Chasidus, you tune into Yechida. And especially the Maimarim of the Rebbe, almost every Maimer of the Rebbe emphasizes that yes, you can do this and you can do that, you can do the third thing, and you have your struggle, you can overcome your struggle, you can debate with your Yetzer Hara and then overcome it. And then he says, but if you tune into Yechida, you can rise yourself up so high that there's no limitations. So, even though standard Kabbalah, the Yechida is a very high level that a tzaddik of tzaddikim reaches, so that's true. But what the Rebbe is telling us, that each one of us is capability of tuning into their Yechidah. Because the reality is that every one of us has a neshama. And the reality is that every one of us has that Yechidah. And that sort of potential to reach that high level of full Yechidah experience. But nevertheless, once Chasidus revealed that empowered all of us, that we can tune into that source by a very subconscious perhaps source, but we can tune into that in certain challenging moments to really get energized from it to rise to all these challenges. And when this energy comes into the world, and skip the brackets, when this essential core, the essential energy was revealed, the Yechida energy into the world through Chasidus. So there's one point, there's an essential point. So automatically that affected our minds to understand even the secrets of Kabbalah. It affected our persona to be able to be an idealistic yid that's a chassid that does beyond the call of duty, that can go out of himself and do for others, and also to overcome his own faults and even his own nature. Now in the brackets he writes something very interesting, which it's a Kabbalistic term which I want to share with you. He names the Rebbes. He goes down, he says, Teres Chasidus, when we're saying about Chasidus, there's Teres Chasidus HaKlolis, there's the general revolution of Chasidus that was started by the Baal Shem Tov, before Chabad. The Kvoikdushas of Baal Shem Tov, Harav Magid, etc. So there's Chasidus HaKlolis, there's Chasidus made a revolution. And then he continues, and then after that, there's Toras Chasidus Chabad by the Alter Rebbe. And he says a quote, that this Chasidus Chabad was brought Alter Rebbe because he was unique. He had a neshama chadasha, a new neshama. And the footnotes, he says that this is taken, the idea of neshama chadasha is found in Shar al-Gilgulim, Sefer al-Gilgulim, from the writings of the Arizal, Chaim Vital. If you look up over there, what is this idea, neshama chadasha, a new neshama? We know, and this is fundamental, all of mankind started with Adam. And the original neshama was in Adam Arishon. And when Adam Arishon sinned, he contaminated the world, and first of all, he contaminated his own neshama, which is the neshama of all the neshamas. And what is the work? All of our work is to purify the world, from going back to the original sin, and when we're done, Mashiach is going to come. And in the writings of the Kabbalah, it says, in the Shar HaGilgulim, Sefer HaGilgulim, he says that there are neshamas that are new, because they weren't part of the original neshama that was in Adam HaRishon. And they weren't really stained by the original sin. The original sin, the Chet HaTzadas, affected the whole creation, and it did have some effect even on a neshama chadasha, on this new neshama. But a new neshama is a special neshama that wasn't affected the same way by the sin of Adam Rishon, because they weren't in Adam Rishon when he sinned. So this is a concept in Kabbalah. In Shar HaGilgulim, Sefer HaGilgulim, that's the original Kabbalah classic, the Bible of Gilgulim, so to say. I mean, it's originally in Zohar, but so to say, put together everything about Gilgulim In the classic Shar Gugulim, or Sefer Gugulim, mainly Shar Gugulim was considered more qualified. Now, the Baal Shem Tov said to all his Chassidim, he said there's going to be born a new neshama chadasha. Rare did it happen in the last hundreds of years. And this was the neshama of the Alter Rebbe. He told it to the father of the Alter Rebbe. You're going to have a son who's going to make a whole new shit. In Chasidus itself, Chabad is a whole new undertaking. And I was thinking about this. The Rebbe doesn't say it, but I just want to share this thought. Why the new neshama chadasha, was by the Alter Rebbe, the third generation of Chasidus, and not by the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov wasn't a new neshama; it was a high neshama. It wasn't a new neshama. Chabad, you need a new neshama. Now Chabad really took the Teretz of Baal Shem Tov, and what did he do? He put it in an intellectual way to understand it. Why over here you need a new neshama, and by the Baal Shem Tov he didn't need a new neshama? What's this idea? So I was thinking like this. You have a flame. What can you do with the flame? You have a flame, it's hot, it's fire. It can burn down. With one spark, you can the forest fires of California, the forest fires of Australia, going crazy. It starts with a spark, one little flame. But if you want to do something with the flame, you need a wick. So when you have a flame and a wick, now you have control of it. Now you have light. Then you can light another candle. Then you can light a fire underneath the cooker pot. You need a wick with a flame. Just a flame is not controlled. And where's it going to go? And you can lose it. You have a wick. Now you can hold the flame, you can move the flame, you can do what you want with the flame. The Baal Shem Tov is fire, passion. All the Chassidim. Even in the 2020s, they're dressed differently, they have the beard, some have payas. That's a Chassid. There's fire. And there's passion. And there's joy. Unbound. And the Alter Rebbe said, you can attach this fire to a wick. To bring it down in a controlled structure. That is in the intellect, Chabad. So you're connecting fire and putting it in a box. It's still fire, but you brought that fire into an understanding of the fire. So to bring those two opposites, you need a new neshama chadasha, I guess, to bring that fire and put it into the wick. But in any case, that's the point of Chasidus. There's the Yechida, that is the point, the Yechida and how it affects everything. Now, this idea that on one hand you're talking about a very high level of godliness, how it's coming down in Torah and in Neshama experience, and on the other hand it's affecting the world. This explains what he says in the 7th chapter, that Torah Chasidus is compared to shemen, to oil. In the literature, Torah sometimes is compared to oil, sometimes Torah is compared to wine, sometimes Torah is compared to water. What's oil? Why is Chasidus compared to oil? Kabbalah is compared to wine. Generally, Torah is compared to water. Water gives you sustenance. You can't live without Torah. Wine is the taste. It has a flavor. Wine makes you happy. Wine brings joy. But then there's oil. What's oil? Why is this called oil? So he explains that oil is the nekudas hatamsis, essence shall hold over. Oil has two opposite qualities. On one hand, oil floats above everything. You can stir oil with water. It looks like it's mixing, but it's not. After a while, it stands above. So oil floats above. Now, let's say you're going to remove the oil, right? You can pour the oil out of or with a spoon, remove all the oil. Your water is going to stay oily. It doesn't mix, but it mixes. And halach is that way also. Fatty. Oil is the fatty property in everything. In halach you have fat also. It's fat, like oil, is going to float above. Oil floats above. But it permeates in everything. So if you put oil on a piece of paper, it's going to go through a piece of paper. So oil on one hand is separate, and on the other hand, oil penetrates. So what is oil? So that's what he explains. The reason Chassidus is called oil, because it's the essence. The oil of everything is the essence. It's not just physical oil. The symbolism in the scripture, oil is used as a symbol. In Kabbalah, oil is a symbol. What is a symbol? What is the oil? The oil is the essence. The essence of everything is the symbol of the oil. And what is that? It's above, and then whenever it comes in contact to, it affects. Mitzad atzmei muvdul mekol davar, in the 7th chapter. By itself, it's separate from everything. El shehu b'chinas atzmi, v'leisa atzim ninsu b'chol davar, ki atzim nims b'koel. The essence of everything is in everything. Let's take the atom, for example. Is the atom separate from everything? Yes. You can't... I can break this, I'm not going to split the atom, right? To get to the atom, I had the special tools that we have today developed after thousands of years. We figure out to reach the atom. Till the degree we can split the atom. Is there anything that doesn't have the atom? So the atom is in everything. And they're trying to figure, could you change the energy in the atom, how this is going to affect things? Or in the human DNA, the cells in the body, the cells are like the atom, so to say. Atom is in nature. I mean, the cells also have an atom because the physical was their objects. But as far as life is concerned, you need the cell, the core, the essence of life is cells. So each cell has its own structure. Each cell has its own, the whole study of cells and the cells of the body. But in every piece of the body needs cells. And then, but as far as Chasidus is concerned, he's saying, why is this that Chasidus on one hand Chasidus is about the essence, the Yechida, and it affects everything. So this is the Chidush of Chasidus. That really, there's the inner cell, the inner atom, there's the oil, what he calls the oil. Why is Chasidus called the oil of Torah? Because it's the essence. And when you reveal that essence, it affects all aspects of Torah. And when you reveal the essence of our neshama, it reveals all aspects of our being. Because the oil, since it's the essence, is the essence of every level. In halacha, you have that something that is fatty floats, oil, for example, floats, and the other hand, it permeates through and through. Something that is fatty, if you touch the surface with something unkosher, it's going to spread through the whole thing. But something that's not fatty or oily, if you touch the surface, only the surface is not kosher. It doesn't permeate the whole thing. So this fattiness and oil, on one hand it's separate, it floats, and on the other hand it permeates, it penetrates everything, it saturates everything. And that's why he concludes the last paragraph of chapter 7. Chasidus, like oil, has these two qualities, opposite qualities. On one hand, since it's at the essence, so therefore it doesn't mix, it's above. It's the essential core, so to say, the atom that doesn't spread out. On the other hand, it affects everything. And this also is the idea we talk about Mashiach. Mashiach, when we talk about all the changes that are going to happen in man and in the world and understanding of Torah, Mashiach comes, it's not different things that are going to happen. There's a list of things that are going to happen. No. One thing's going to happen. There's going to be the revelation of the essence of the world, where Hashem's essence is going to come through the essence of the world. And then the birds will sing, the flower, the nature, the world will change. The wolf and the lamb are going to sing together in a chorus, praising Hashem, like we say in Tehillim. And the nations of the world are going to praise Hashem. Everyone's going to see the light. Our neshama is going to change. Our understanding of Torah is going to change. It's just one essential point is revealed, and that started with Chasidus. And all of this, I think, we have to apply in our life. All of Chasidus, we're learning deep stuff, but we have to personalize it, and we have to know how Chasidus empowers us to connect to our real deepest essence, and to focus on that. And when we have challenges or not challenges, to push ourselves to do more and to work harder, and to change our character and open our eyes. We have immense powers that is really there deep inside. And Chasidus helps us tune into that and to reveal that. Good night.